What's up, everybody? It's Josh here, and I wanted to make one more video today going over the question, should the Chiefs target Marvin Jones this offseason? So, if you guys don't know, Marvin Jones, the Detroit Lions wide receiver, is set to be a free agent this year, and he recently had an interview prior to Week 17's games, and they asked him about how he felt about his future in Detroit. And here I'll read it to you once I can get to it. But basically, it sounds bleak at best. If he's going to stay there, I really doubt he does. He also talked about how he prioritized trying to play for a contender. So the quote's about to load right here, and I'll be able to read it for you. So Marvin Jones asked if he wants to stay in Detroit ahead of the final game on his contract. We'll see. I am a free agent, and the free agent process is something I'm very excited about. We'll see in March. So it sounds like he's not too keen on staying in Detroit. And of course, the reason you clicked on this video, you want to know, should the Chiefs try and make a run for him? Well, I say yes, obviously, right? I mean, he's a really good receiver. So if I give you his numbers from this year, he has just under 800 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns on 68 catches, and this was before the Week 17 game, so this is a little bit older numbers, but for the most part, really good season. And he also, I feel like, with Watkins walking this offseason, most likely, unless the Chiefs want to bring him back, but I feel like they shouldn't if they have the option to sign Jones. That's like one of the best things the Chiefs could do this offseason is add an even more dependable and productive wide receiver to replace Sammy Watkins, and like Demarcus Robinson leaves, and wide receiver's probably going to be a need this offseason. And McCole Hardman, he just hasn't shown me enough. He hasn't progressed enough as a receiver for me to feel comfortable with him as the number 2. So, I mean, just a couple years ago, everyone, like, the Chiefs had the consensus best receiving core in the league, right? Well, I think most fans would be disappointed now to find out that McCole Hardman would become their number 2 wide receiver this offseason if they make no other moves. And I can't really blame them because McCole Hardman just, he hasn't been good, guys. He just hasn't. But Marvin Jones would be a massive upgrade. He's a little more dependable. He had some injury problems earlier on in 2018. I want to say he only played like 6 games or something like that. It could have been more, could have been less. But 2019, he played in 13 games, and this year he played in all of them. So he's on the upswing at least. But I know the question you guys have is, would the Chiefs be able to afford him? And the answer is yes. I mean, you guys know Brett Veach is a master at manipulating the cap and all that stuff. There's ways to afford him if they really wanted to bring him in, like Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher. This might be their last year in Kansas City. If you cut both of them, you save around $14 million just from that. Alex Okafor is another guy you could cut because he hasn't been as productive for what they pay him. They could cut him, draft somebody instead, or sign just somebody else that's just cheaper because that would save you some money. There's another one that I'm not thinking of off the top. Oh yeah, Watkins. He comes off the books. You're not paying him $9 million next year. So you get my point. Like, if they really wanted to make the move, they could. So what kind of number would Marvin Jones draw? Well, this offseason he's going to be turning 31, so he's going to be on the wrong side of 30. He has a little bit of an injury history, just a tiny bit, nothing major, but that's something that you could use in negotiations. And but like 5 years ago or so, 2016. He signed a 5-year, $40 million deal with them, right? And that paid him around almost $9 million per year. I don't think he gets that again. I just don't. I think that was the best deal he's going to get. And then he said he wants to play for a contender. Well, most contenders probably won't pay him what he got with the Lions. So, his pay per year is probably expected to come down a little bit with whatever deal he signs if he does go to a contender like he says. And, that's right up the Chiefs' alley. So if I were Veach, I would offer him something like 3 years, $21 million. That would pay him about $7 million per year until he's 34, and he'd be a really good number 2 receiver, right? And that it would just be a good move in my opinion. So this offseason, the Chiefs will have some money to spend. Like I said, like people always ask, how will they afford this guy? How will they afford that guy? there's ways around it. Marvin Jones would be a great addition. I mean, this is someone who runs like a 4.4, so you're keeping that speed theme. And then he's also he's about 6'2", 200 pounds. That's, he's a pretty big receiver. The Chiefs haven't had a receiver like that in some time. So, yeah, I say absolutely the Chiefs will be interested in Marvin Jones, and I think Marvin Jones will be interested in the Chiefs. So this could be a really good move for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I don't know how realistic it is. Just because I don't know what the market looks like for Marvin Jones right now. That's just my best guess. But I would keep an eye on this one, Chiefs fans. I think this is definitely a move that they can make this offseason to help bolster the offense. So, yeah, that's all for today, guys. Just wanted to make that video real quick talking about the question. I know it's come up a lot, and Marvin Jones and the Chiefs have been linked. So make sure to check out www.showmefootball.com for more. But that's it, guys. Peace.